Hello and Happy New Year. I hope that you had a restful break and that 2026 is off to a great start. If you don't know me, my name is Michelle Manette. I am a guitarist, a singer-songwriter, and an educator. And I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions, but I do like to take the opportunity at the start of the new year to consider how I might like to approach the year ahead. This year, what I've done is I've selected 4 intentions for my musical life and my musical experience. I'm thinking about these intentions almost like musical themes for the year, so they might cover more than one aspect of my musical experience. And today, that's what I want to share with you all. So let's jump into it. My first musical intention for the year is to play guitar and sing with more ease. This means I want to play and sing with only as much effort as I need to create the sound that I want in that moment. In my desire to get things right or to get them sounding the way I want, sometimes I can try too hard and that can manifest physically in using too much effort and often having a lot of tension when it comes to singing, in my jaw, in my neck. When it comes to my guitar playing, a lot of tension in my shoulders, in my hand and my fingers and my forearm. Over time, using too much pressure or too much effort can lead to health issues. And I've struggled with challenges with my wrist in the past because I was using too much force when I played guitar and I wasn't really using the best technique. And I did improve on that front by basically rebuilding my technique from the ground up, but it's something that I want to revisit and really get, programmed into my guitar playing DNA. I want to make sure that relaxation is a part of how I play. I've also been working on singing with more ease for the last couple of years, thanks to instruction and guidance from the incredible vocalist and musical multi-hyphenate and all-around great person, Courtney Swain. So I've made some pretty incredible breakthroughs just through some of the exercises she showed me and helping me to develop some more self-awareness. But I want to keep going with that theme because I do notice that tension can still creep in when I'm not being careful. And at the end of the day, this intention really is an invitation to be more present in my body. I already put a lot of focus into the sound that I'm creating and really thinking about what I'm doing, but I also want to be really aware of how I feel when I'm playing guitar, when I'm singing, so that I can make adjustments, I can reduce the amount of effort and find that sweet spot where I can get the sound I want with just the right amount of effort needed to do that. My second musical intention for the year is to have more refinement in everything that I do musically. And when I say refinement, I don't mean perfection, I just mean polish. I want there to be a certain degree of shine to the things that I do. I plan on doing this in 3 main ways. Number 1 is to make sure I'm returning to the things I already know and I already do well so that I can keep them as refined as possible. It's so easy for me to get wrapped up in the thing that I'm doing to push myself, the new thing I'm learning, but it's so important to come back to not just the fundamentals in general, musically speaking, but also the fundamentals of what I do. So coming back to the things that maybe do feel natural to me, but I still want to give those things enough attention so that they can sound really, really elevated and really polished. So not just taking for granted the fact that I can do those things well and just letting them slide, making sure that they are also a part of what I'm doing and what I'm working on to get better as a musician and artist. The second is to give myself enough time and space to work on the things that are new and challenging. Something that I used to struggle with a lot was always feeling like I had to get the thing I was working on done so I could just move to the next thing and move to the next thing. And what that translated as in my playing and my singing was quite a bit of sloppiness, honestly. So I've had to work on reducing the number of things I work on at any one time so that I can give those things more space. So within just a practice session, but also on a longer time scale. So I might spend a few extra weeks or months if I need to on something to make sure I really have it down before I set it aside to work on something else. And the third thing is that I want to just hold myself to a higher standard when I'm practicing. And that means not letting any sloppiness or messiness slip through the cracks. If I notice something when I'm practicing that doesn't sound the way I want it to sound, instead of procrastinating and, putting it off like, oh, I'll deal with that later, or, oh, maybe that won't be an issue that comes up again, I want to stop and address the issue. And if I can't clean it up within that one session, I want to then create some kind of a routine or, an exercise or whatever I need to do to then work on that thing over a little bit of a longer period until it works. So it comes down to just not letting myself get away with letting any sloppiness through. And that is much easier to do when I give myself the space and the time to really dig into something. So a lot of this goes hand in hand. My third musical intention for the year is just to play more. I've always had a bias toward practicing for reasons I won't get into today, but play is a really essential part of not just being a musician, but being a human being as well. We crave play, and I have definitely not given myself enough of that, but especially musically speaking. And it is also a really important part of our development as musicians, and it is a kind of practice. It's not the same as deliberate practice, but it does help you to improve. And one of the ways it does that is that it gives you a chance to really gel together everything that you've been learning and practicing. Playing with other musicians especially is great for elevating your musical skills and being able to bring them together into something cohesive and musical, of course. I ended up spending a lot of my holiday break just playing guitar. I was making these fun little loops in my Ditto looper and just jamming over them for hours. And I had an absolute blast. And it just reminded me of how valuable it is to be able to exist in that space of just playing. And yeah, I was trying some things and I was, trying to fit in some of the stuff I'd been practicing. But it was also a kind of way of honoring just how far I've come as a musician and a guitarist specifically, because I was just playing with all the stuff that I had practiced. I was getting a chance to really, really be with a guitar in a way that I'm not when I'm practicing, and I'm so focused on the thing that I'm doing. This felt a little bit more like I was connected with the guitar in a different way. And I'm literally just realizing this now as I'm speaking. And I guess it's kind of like the relationship you have with a person. If you're only ever doing work together or, having really intense conversations, your relationship is going to feel very heavy. But if you're also engaging in play together and just having fun and making jokes, it can help bring balance to that relationship. And I think my relationship with the guitar is like that as well. And that's something I really want to keep going with. I want to keep playing, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the day, just to do something to engage with my guitar, or if I'm just singing a song that I love, just to not let music always feel like something I'm trying to work on. I do love practice and I love working on my craft, but I want to also just enjoy music. And something I heard Victor Wooten say recently in one of his Words of Wisdom videos is to practice a little and play a lot. And I'm still going to practice a lot. I think that's just the way I'm wired. But I do want to play more, because if it's good enough for Victor Wooten, then it's good enough for me. My fourth musical intention for the year is to listen to more music. I realized last year that my music listening habits had become pretty surface level and superficial. And although I was listening to a lot of the same albums over again, I was doing that while I was doing other things and I wasn't really engaged. I did have a couple of sessions where I sat down with headphones and listened to an album, but that happened maybe twice last year. So I want to change that this year. And my intention is split twofold. I want to listen to a wider variety of music because, as I said, I was listening to a lot of the same albums. And at the same time, I also do want to dive deeper on some specific works. So I'm going to be balancing the depth and the width. So the width coming from listening to a wide range of music, and then the depth, of course, from going deeper on whether it's an album that I just really enjoy or it challenges me in some way as a listener and an artist. I just want to spend more time really actively listening to music. And so far, I have been listening more widely. I got back into listening to BBC radio, especially Jamie Cullum's jazz show. I started listening to that probably a decade ago, and I found so many incredible artists there who I love. So I've gotten back into listening to that, as well as checking out some of the other shows that they have on BBC Radio, and that's been really great. And I've been listening to just some different albums on YouTube Music, and it's been nice to just choose something different and try to choose something from a different genre each time, just to kind of keep myself, from dipping too far into one area for the purpose of listening more widely. So I still have to spend some time really digging in. And it could also be that I decide to really seriously explore a genre. That would probably be really cool too. But anyways, I do want to just make sure I'm listening more deeply to music. So that is something I've got to get on top of. Fortunately, these are not New Year's resolutions, so I can't fail. This is just kind of like a compass. It just kind of keeps me pointed in the right direction. So there you have it. Those are my 4 musical intentions for the year. Do you have any musical intentions or resolutions or goals for the year? If you do, let me know. If you are a guitarist, a vocalist, or a songwriter, and you are interested in highly personalized lessons that will help you build a strong foundation for your musicianship and artistry, please feel free to check out my lesson page. I have a link down below in the description. And if you are a musician of any kind who would like some help building a satisfying, sustainable, and meaningful musical life, then please feel free to explore mentorship. I have a page down below, again, in the description, you can check out if you are curious to see if that's a fit. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.